Who's there? What a fool. What a wonderful day it is today. Hello, welcome. Please come in. Vaccine has been specially approved as there is only limited information on the prevention of COVID-19. Side effects of the vaccine. The doctor in charge of vaccination will explain about this vaccine before your vaccination. COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a coronavirus called SARS-CoV-2. It presents symptoms very similar to the common cold, such as fever and cough. Most patients with COVID-19 have mild symptoms, can recover from COVID-19. However, in some cases, the symptom progresses to severe difficulty breathing and pneumonia, leading to death. This vaccine is a messenger RNA, mRNA type vaccine. The mRNA vaccines inject the part of the code that tells the body how to make viral proteins. Based on this information, the human body makes a part of the viral proteins, followed by production of antibodies against the proteins. This gives the body the tools immunity to defend it against the virus. I received second shot vaccine. I worked in healthcare field. Our patients, our colleagues are on the front lines and need us all to do our part, protect ourselves and our community. This vaccine prevented COVID-19 by utilizing our body immune system, which attacks foreign substances in the body. Side effects. Be careful of your physical condition after vaccination, particularly for several days immediately after vaccination. If you have the symptoms, possibly shock, anaphylaxis, and pain and swelling at the injection site, diarrhea, muscle pains, joint pains, headache, and tiredness, chills, and fevers. That is you notice the unusual changes, abnormalities in your physical condition, contact the doctors at the vaccination center. And most persons who reported the pain at the injection site, the pain began on the day of the vaccination and lasted for about 2 days. Most other symptoms appeared on the day after the vaccination and lasted for about 1 day. Many of these symptoms occur more frequently after the second doses than the first, and more frequently on non-elderly persons than in the elderly. Like I said, pain and swelling at the injection site, and muscle joint pain, headache, and tiredness, fever, symptoms that appear in 10% or more of the people who receive the vaccine. After receiving this vaccine, possibly severe symptom is like as a skin symptom, for example, itchy of the skin, and gastrointestinal symptoms, for example, abdominal pain and nausea, and visual symptoms, visual abnormalities, respiratory symptoms, for example, hoarseness of the voice, sneezing, itchy throat, and breathing difficulties, and shock symptoms, for example, the looking pale and consciousness. After receiving this vaccine, ask it to stay for a while at the vaccination centers. Even after the vaccination, it is still necessary to practice the basic prevention strategies for infection prevention. Wear a mask, avoid closed spaces, avoid crowded places, avoid close contact settings, ensure ventilation, and washing your hands and follow cough etiquette. Messenger RNA is broken down over time from several minutes to several days. In addition, mRNA is not taken up into human genetic information, the DNA. Our body has a mechanism to make mRNA from DNA. In this mechanism, the information flows only one way, from DNA to mRNA. There is no opposite flow, and therefore DNA cannot be made from mRNA. For this reason, it is believed that the information from the injected mRNA cannot remain in the body for long. In addition, the mRNA is not taken up into the genetic information of sperms and of eggs of humans. In persons who received 2 doses of this vaccine 21 days apart, the efficacy affected on preventing COVID-19 of the vaccine was about 95% at least 7 days after the second doses. The median period of follow-up of this population evaluated for efficacy was about 2 months after the second doses. This vaccine is still undergoing clinical studies, and more information will be available in the future. White blood cells. Macrophages are white blood cells that are swallowed up and digested germs and dead or dying cells. Macrophages leave behind parts of the invading germs called antigens. The body identifies antigens as dangerous and stimulates the antibodies to attack them. How to protect the body against that diseases? The body keeps a few T lymphocytes called the memory cells that go into action quickly as the body encounters the same virus again. When the familiar antigens are detected, the lymphocytes produce antibodies to attack them. COVID-19 vaccines help our bodies develop the immunity to the virus that caused COVID-19 without us having to get the illness. Sometimes after vaccination, the process of building immunity can cause symptoms such as a fever. These symptoms are normal and are signs that the body is building immunity. mRNA vaccines contain materials from the virus that caused COVID-19 that gives our cells instructions for how to make harmless proteins that is unique to the virus. After our cells make copies of the protein, they destroy the genetic materials from the vaccine. Our bodies recognize that the protein should not be there and build the T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes that will remember how to fight the virus that causes COVID-19 if we are infected in the future. The immune system is able to respond more vigorously to the second contact with a given antigen than to the first contact. Vaccination protocols are generally included at least 2 doses in order to obtain the high antibody. All vaccines could cause some degrees of reaction. That's the same as true for COVID-19 vaccines. Post-vaccine symptoms typically is mild and resolved quickly without the need to use any medication. Common COVID-19 vaccine side effects included. Also, I had redness or soreness at injection site, muscle arthritis, fatigue, headache, and fever or chills. For some people, included me, the second doses on the COVID-19 vaccines series has caused stronger reaction and more side effects than the initial first doses. Second vaccine doses are more tough, going into our bodies and started to make that spike proteins, and our antibodies jumped on it and level up your immune system's response. It's kind of like They studied data for the test and it's acting the test. Does the COVID vaccines contain the viruses? No. It won't make you shed the spiked proteins of transmit COVID-19 to others in any way. Explain how the vaccines works and an effort to swat down rumors and misinformation. Misinformation about the coronavirus that's been rampant on social media since the pandemic began. Vaccinations are no different. One rumor that's popped up is that unvaccinated people can get sick simply from contact with those who have gotten the COVID-19 vaccines as they shed a virus particle.